Hello everyone, welcome to the second part of the Industrial Ethernet Communication related presentation. I'll be continuing with the where we shall left off with the Ethernet IP and Flexera licensing. So the first industrial protocol we'll look at is Profinet. Profinet, Ethernet IP, is another industrial Ethernet communication protocol. It's a real-time Ethernet communication protocol developed by Siemens and made open source, predominantly used in EMEA region. Uh, so Germany and other areas where a lot of factories use Profinet for automation. So, okay, so here is a small diagram just showing what a factory floor looks like and how various Profinet based devices communicate with each other to automate this factory. This is a small bottling plant. You could see there are PLCs, SCADA operating stations, and there are communication devices. So there is particularly you could see a boiler there, and that could be controlled by the PLC with using a ladder logic to say like when to uh, do fill the bottle and all those things. Similarly, on the right side, you could see a small labeling station where once the bottles are bottled, they are labeled with stickers on them. So all these individual things can be controlled using PLC. Uh, so similarly, our FX9600 RFID reader could also communicate with a PLC, and that can be used in this factory floor to read the RFID tags that can be put on these water bottling plants. So for any inventory kind of purposes or tracking them. So that's the intention of this Profinet communication with FX9600. So Profinet supports two types of communication. One is real-time cyclic, and another one is real-time acyclic communication. In the cyclic part, the PLC and device will continuously exchange data at defined periodicity. So maybe 4 millisecond or 8 milliseconds, something like that. When it is acyclic, it's like request response kind of thing. A PLC requests a device to do a certain operation, and then that's it. No further communication after that until it is required. So these two kinds of data exchange is possible with the Profinet. So Profinet is governed by a organization called Profibus International. So they are the authority to get the certification done for these devices before it can be used in any of the factory setup like we have shown here. So FX9600, we got it certified with Profibus International, and it's already NetLoad Class 1 compliant and Conformance Class A compliant device. So it is now approved to be used in factory automation purposes. Um, so how FX9600 supports Profinet is by installing package, a software package onto the device. So one could go to the Zebra website, a Network Connect Profinet page, and then download Profinet package from there, and then install it on the device using a device's web page. So from the web page, we can install this package, and then like Vishal described how we could use a Flexera licensing. Similar approach is used here using the same network connect license. We could license user could install the license for Profinet and start using the Profinet. So for our qualification of this FX9600, we used a PLC from Siemens. We used S7 1200 PLC and S7 1500 PLCs using and as well as we use the TIA portal. It's a software that goes with the Siemens PLC to configure the PLC to how to communicate with our device and our device capabilities and all those things. So we have a Profinet user guide and a sample application showing the capabilities of our device available on the website. User can download them and try them out. So in this slide, we want to describe about various capabilities of FX9600 when it is operating in a Profinet mode. So FX9600 is capable of doing Profinet communication with cyclic communication at the rate of 4 millisecond. This way, the Profinet device and the PLC can exchange data every 4 millisecond. So using this 4 millisecond periodicity and about each cycle, it's possible to read up to 10 tags. So it's possible to achieve like 600 tags per second. That's the capacity that we could achieve using FX9600 device. There is also ability to throttle. Sometimes PLC is not as fast as the FX9600 can produce RFID tag data. So if the PLC needs to do any processing on the tag, it's possible to do a kind of handshake with the device. So that way it's possible to throttle how fast the PLC receives the data from the device. Then next thing we can talk about is during the inventory operation. Inventory operation is like reading the RFID tags in the field of view of the antenna. So if there are several tags in the field of view of antenna, then all the tags will be read. So depending upon what kind of tags you have in the field, we have different ways in which you can access the tag data. For example, say if you have a 12 byte tags in the field of view, and if you are interested only in probably just a few information like just the tag EPC and on which antenna it is read and just a timestamp, then one could use the standard inventory response in which we support only 12 byte EPC tags and minimal tag metadata with it. So if some users may be interested in additional details along with the EPC tag data, like maybe PSC, CRC, RSSI, phase kind of data. So if depending on that, they can choose extended standard inventory response module in the Profinet. Using this, they can read extended data. Similarly, if there are tags that are greater than 12 bytes available in the field, so for example, say if the user is using 64 byte EPC tags, then they could choose a long inventory response for a like a smaller set of metadata, or they could use an extended long inventory response to get the additional metadata along with the 64 byte EPC tags. So these are the four ways in which we can access the inventory response. Similarly, FX9600 Profinet protocol also supports access operation. So access operation is also a cyclic operation, but then it is more of a event driven. So every time you want to do a access operation, you will have to do a handshake. There is a handshake field to which we can say it's a new access operation. So in the access operation, we also support read and write to several memory banks on the EPC, like user reserved and TID memory banks. We also support access filters on the during the access operation. Using these access filters, it's possible to say do access operation of particular tag or a particular tag with a certain pattern. For example, say all the tags starting with 2F22. Those kind of filters are possible. Profinet supports acyclic communication, like I described earlier, real-time acyclic. Using real-time acyclic communication, it's possible to configure the RFID reader to change the parameters on which how it operates. For example, if you want to change the transmit power on the antenna, that is possible. If you want to change the singulation parameters, like what kind of tags are needs to be singulated to be read, those kind of things are possible. Also, if you want to add certain filters, say I want to read only tags of certain pattern, those kind of pre-filters and post-filters are possible. So there are also predefined profiles available with the RFID reader. For example, we have certain profiles for conveyor belt operation. Those kind of profiles also can be used. Moving forward, here is a few screenshots showing how the Profinet is configured. In this screenshot, this is a web page from FX9600 reader. Using this web page, it's possible to install a license that is needed for Profinet. So here is another page in which one could browse and then select the downloaded Profinet package from Zebra website and install it. And then on the right side, you could see it's possible to do the start stop of this application, and also select the auto start button here. This will allow reader to come up as a Profinet when it is restarted, if the device is restarted. So there is a tool called Profinet Commander. So Profinet operates at the layer 2, means it doesn't use Ethernet IP address. So it needs a name to begin with. So there is a Profinet Commander tool. It will be able to scan the RFID device operating the Profinet mode on the network using the layer 2 protocol, and it will show up something like we have seen in the top screenshot. The Profinet commander will show what kind of devices are connected. So from this, we could do a device set name. We could set a name to our device. So this is the first operation that needs to be performed before a reader can be used in a Profinet network. So the screenshot below shows that the device is assigned with the new device name, FX9600. So after this, one could go to the Siemens TIA portal and install the GSDML provided by Zebra for our FX9600 reader. So GSDML is a XML file containing description of our device, like what are the device capabilities and like how fast it can do and what kind of data it can exchange with the PLC. All those details are encoded in this XML file. So this XML needs to be imported into the TIA portal, like we are showing here. So once the it is imported, it will show up under the catalog. One could go to browse the catalog and then be able to figure out various device access points available with the uh, uh, to operate with our FX9600. So we are saying on the right bottom side, we could see in the 4 different ways in which you could access the data. Like I was describing earlier, depending on the size of EPC tag, as well as how much metadata user is interested in, can choose one of these 4 options and instantiate and drag and drop into the center console that is under a topology view. So here we have chosen standard inventory response. Next thing is that we have to configure our device Ethernet IP address. So the PLC will be able to assign this IP address to our device once it sees our device on the network using the name. A name we have assigned using the Profinet commander, as I showed in the previous slides. Now we have to continue with our configuration, and then we have to configure our device now, and then to tell the PLC like what kind of operation we are interested in doing with our device. So if you on the right side, there are 3 different modules available there. So there is an access command module. This access command module allows user to do access operation. Then there is an inventory command and standard EPC module. These 2 together will provide abilities to do just the inventory operation, not the access operation. So so in the center console, in the device overview, you could see that we have chosen access command, through which we could do access command and response. Through that, we could do both access read and write operation. And then we have chosen inventory command at the slot 2, and we have chosen 2 standard EPC response modules at the slot 3 and 4. So this will allow us to read 2 EPC tags every cycle. So it's possible to go up to, we could select up to 10 standard EPC response modules. This way, if a user is interested in reading several tags in the field of view at once, they'll be able to read a maximum of 10 tags. However, if user is interested in reading only few tags, or there are only few tags in the field, it's recommended to use fewer of these modules. Typically, one standard EPC response module is enough. Just in case we are showing an example where you could choose multiple of them. Here we have chosen 2 standard EPC response modules in the slot 3 and 4. And then we have to create a ladder diagram, just like how we do in Ethernet IP. Similarly, there are ladder logic that is needs to be implemented. Through this, we tell the PLC what to do with the device. Um, on the top screenshot, we are showing how a inventory command can be sent from PLC to the device. Inventory command is a structure containing several inventory related parameters. So that is a 8 byte of data that needs to be sent from the PLC to the device to start a inventory. There is a inventory command data and there is a inventory handshake. Using those 2 parameters, it's possible to do the starts and stop of the inventory operation. So the top screenshot will describe will be used to tell the PLC how to send the command from PLC to the device. Um, then the left bottom screenshot shows how to read a data produced by the RFID device into the PLC. So we are using a instruction called DPWR data. This is like a read data from DPRD data. This is a instruction block that is used to read data from a device to the PLC. So here we are reading the inventory response and then we are storing it into a data block. Since we have configured 2 standard EPC modules during the configuration, we have to read both of them. So we have that's why we have 2 sets of ladder logic for reading the standard EPC response 1 as well as standard EPC response 2. On the bottom right screenshot, we are showing for the second EPC response. Then we have to create a few more ladder diagram to control the start and stop operation of the inventory operation. On the left side of the screenshot, in the network 10 and 11 are showing when the inventory operation has started. So using the trigger button on the left, it's possible to start the inventory operation, in which case inventory command will be set to 1 and handshake value will be set to 1. And this data will be sent to the device and device starts the inventory operation at this stage. And when you want to stop the inventory, if you look at the network 11, we have again made uh, another instruction to turn it off. At this stage, inventory command is set to 2 and inventory handshake is again set to 2. This way we tell the device to stop the inventory operation. Here is a screenshot of how a inventory response that is sent by the device is captured in the PLC. At the top, you could see the command and handshake. That is the command that is being sent from PLC to the device. Here we are sending 1 and 1. That means inventory is in, to start the inventory and it is in progress as of now. Then the next we are seeing the sequence number of the inventory response that is being sent from device to the PLC. There is a EPC tag from showing like a 12-byte EPC here, and then followed by the timestamp at which this tag was read, and then followed by there is some antenna ID showing on which antenna this was read. Similarly, there is a tag length and RSSI values. So all this data can be read from the device. So this is all we had for Profinet. Next, we'll proceed to another industrial communication protocol called Modbus TCP. Modbus TCP is similar to Ethernet IP and Profinet. It's an industrial communication protocol used to communicate between a PLC and RFID device or any device that supports Modbus communication. Modbus was previously was using RS-485 and a UART kind of protocol. once the Ethernet came into picture, like some 20 years ago, then Modbus also was made available on Ethernet using TCP kind of communication. So it's a Modbus TCP now. So Modbus TCP is supports it's address and data kind of protocol. Like a PLC can send I want to read at this address for 10 bytes, then just the PLC will send the address and how much byte it wants to read, and the device will respond back with the same address and the data that as many bytes as requested. So it's a simple address and data kind of protocol. There are several commands possible here. Like you could do something like read and write. You could say, I want to read at one particular address, or you could read a set of addresses. Like I want to start from reading from address 1000 and 10 bytes from there. So that's like read multiple. And similarly, if you want to write multiple bytes from starting from address, say 1000, then you could say write from 1000 and 10 bytes. So next 10 bytes will be written using this. So it's a very simple protocol. It's a master slave kind of protocol. So PLC will be the master that connects to the device, and it's able to control the device using these read and write operations on the device. So Modbus is Modbus package can also be downloaded from Zebra website. So under the Network Connect web page, you will be able to find a location to download Modbus package, and it can be also installed onto the RFID device, exactly like how Ethernet IP and Profinet are installed. Just browse to the application page, and using the browse button, select it, and you'll be able to install it, and you can stop this application as well. So Modbus is offered as free if user has bought either of Ethernet IP or Profinet license. So if you have one of these license, then Modbus is available for free to try and use. Um, so Modbus TCP operates using port called 502. So if you have a firewall that is set up to block this, then you will have to unblock this port. So we have tested RFID device Modbus operation using same Siemens S7-1200 PLC. The same PLC also supports both Profinet as well as Modbus. So we are able to use the same PLC for our internal testing. So like Ethernet IP and Profinet, Modbus also supports pretty much the same operations like inventory operations, access operation, and configuration related operations on the device. So in the inventory operations, again, we depending upon the size of the EPC tags that you have in front of the antenna, you could read the standard inventory response, in which we'll be able to device will be able to provide that EPC tag along with a small set of metadata. But if you want to read extended information, sorry, if you wanted to read a EPC tag which is longer than 12 bytes or something like a 64 byte EPC tags, then you could read long inventory response. So the standard inventory response and long inventory response will be able to provide the EPC tag along with the metadata that is available. Metadata could include something like RSSI, phase, CRC, and other information, like on which antenna it is read and other details. There are other ways you could read the inventory response. Like for example, if Modbus wants to read multiple tags in one read request, then it's possible to use multiple standard inventory response. Using this, it's possible to read up to 6 tags in one read request. So this is for only for 12 byte EPC tags. So this way, if you want to have high throughput, then it's possible to use this multiple standard inventory response. And if you want to do the same with longer EPC tags, like 64 byte EPC tags, then you want to use a multi-long inventory response, in which you'll be able to read 2 tags every read. There is an access operation is also available using the same methods, the same data structure also. Read write operations are possible on the various memory banks on the tag, like um, reserved memory bank, TID, or user memory banks can be read or written to. It's also possible to install tag filters. Sorry about that. Then it's possible to configure various RFID parameters also using the same read and write operations using Modbus. Like if you want to configure which antennas to participate in the inventory operation, or you want to change the transmit power on the antenna, or different mode in which it needs to operate, or select a different frequency for operation, it's possible to select all, do all those configuration using the RFID Modbus read write requests. It's possible to select different types of pre-filters, like if you want to set a filter to report only tags starting with certain pattern or ending with certain pattern, or having a certain values within that EPC tag. Those kind of pre-filters are possible. Similarly, profiles are also available. Certain predefined profiles are provided by Zebra, so some of those profiles can also be selected. It's also possible to control the GPIOs. There are 8 GPIOs on the FX9600 using. It's possible to control them or trigger based on those GPIs as well. So this is all we had for today for the presentation. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you all.